Hello, cruel world. Welcome back to the... Welcome back. Really? Welcome to the first video on this channel, which is the first episode of the Whenever You Watch It show, Quarantine Edition, which is also the first episode of the Whenever You Watch It show, full stop. Good start. Good start. Here what we're going to do is make fun of the news a little bit in either bite-sized chunks or deeper dives, something along those lines anyway. Yeah, when I said I was all over the place, I wasn't really lying. Can't really talk either. Anyway, let's get this going. Obviously, the big thing in the news this week, and indeed the past many weeks, is the coronavirus. It's forcing people to quarantine and self-isolate. As a diabetic, this made me lock myself in my house faster than I could say, "Somebody for the love of God kill me." I'm technically in the vulnerable category, right? But this time it's medically as opposed to mentally. What I don't understand, right, is that people are still managing to go partying and clubbing for some reason. I genuinely feel like these people are just trying to tick every viral infection off a list. Like, to be fair, from what I've seen from university, they're probably succeeding. See, some tinfoil hat enthusiasts seem to think this is some kind of government-created device for population control. To be honest, I think it's just some competitive junkie who wants a Guinness World Record for the most viral infections ever diagnosed. What the coronavirus has done is shine a black light on the world and highlighted some absolutely incredible stupidity from the human race. For example, Donald Stable Genius Trump announcing that people shouldn't have gatherings of more than 10 people, while he was surrounded by 15 people himself, like penguins in Antarctica. Oh, by the way, if there are any kids watching this in the future, overly hopeful for multiple reasons, Antarctica was a place that used to exist, but now that it doesn't, neither does New York. So that's good. Interestingly enough, they're the ones huddled around like penguins, while also being the ones contributing to killing their habitats. I suppose what the coronavirus is doing is it's bringing us all together, albeit by splitting us apart. Thanks, Stephen Colbert, for that one. But we're all coming together as humanity. Because let's be honest, we've got nothing else. Pornhub might be the richest company in the world by the time this is all over. I can't wait, if this is all blown over by July, to go back into the gym and see people trying to work out how to bench with one massive arm and one tiny one. It's been an interesting start to the 2020s. Or as it's called during the quarantine, the storing 20s. Get it? Because panic buying. We're not even 3 months in, and there's been so much happening in the news, it's been sort of overwhelming. To start out in January, we thought World War III was about to begin after Donald Tissue Skin Trump had decided to kill an Iranian general. The Iranians threatened retaliation, with the golden boy in terms of showers, not medals, warning that the US could respond in a disproportionate manner. Disproportion is an idea that Trump should be fully aware of, given it was presented in front of him every time he went to Jeffrey Epstein's house, and saw that his hands are only slightly bigger than a teenage girl's. January also started out with the wildfires in Australia, Kobe's helicopter crash, and the initial breakout of the novel coronavirus in Wuhan, China. Really started out the year with a bang. I meant bang. Definitely meant bang. February began with a day that 48% of the British public were all dreading. Brexit Day. Britain formally left the EU after 40 years of being a part of it. This happening brought waves of uncertainty upon our shores, which 52% of the population were very angry about, given those waves were probably made in international waters.
And we bloody hate anything foreign.
One thing we always get in February is the appearance of Punxsutawney Phil, who this year predicted an early spring. So that's good, you can get hay fever and coronavirus. I do love sneezing while my lungs are failing me. February also brought us the Super Bowl. I did really love watching two absolute titans put on a show. And the game was alright too. This brings us to March, the month in which this is being recorded. March has been the month so far of restrictions and lockdowns, with schools, bars and cinemas all across the world being closed to reduce the spread of the coronavirus. Another thing that appeared to be closed during all this was people's minds to the possibility that this could be being done for a reason, as Americans and Brits alike, in a uniquely dumbfounding show of global unification, decided to pack out pubs, party at beaches and lick nightclub toilets. Nothing, absolutely nothing, can bring them down. Not their IQ anyway. So at this point, what I was hoping to do was take a look at things outside the main news story, things that aren't connected to it at all. The problem is that everything, including a scary amount of people, is being consumed by the coronavirus, which makes this much more difficult. Instead, what I'm going to do is talk about how this affects me personally. Not in a selfish way, just that everything's about me. This pandemic has made me incredibly paranoid about going outside. Walking around Croydon now just isn't an option for me. I'm nervous and scared about being around people in case I catch the virus. Before, I was just nervous about being stabbed. Now I'm worried about catching coronavirus from a stabber. My university also decided on the 16th of March to suspend all face-to-face teachings, which was a great idea really, in concept. This is a global pandemic and we need to do whatever we can to stop the spread. What wasn't so great is they decided to do that after a week. They announced it, but announced it for a week's time.
So guys, this is really urgent, a really serious matter where the students' health is at risk. But it's alright, because they can still attend 100-person lectures for the next 5 days, right? The virus will wait a week, won't it? I heard it was a nice virus. I'm sure it'll give us a week before it infects us all. They famously do that, right? They always wait to infect until they're told to do so.
This is all happening right after a load of university staff decided to go on strike, which means a lot of students are left feeling scammed, paying $9 grand a year to live with a bunch of dirty strangers who don't know that some people do drink orange juice without alcohol. Talk about feeling scammed. Imagine watching something that calls itself a show and is actually 6 minutes long. And Graham Norton couldn't get away with this. Anyway, that's the end of the first video on this channel. I hope you took at least a small amount of pleasure from it in all this depression. Kind of like when you watch an American try to point out a country on a map. Yep, that's what's happening. Aim is to alienate viewers from day one. Anyway, if you could like and subscribe if you tolerate any more than this, that would be much appreciated, and hopefully I'll see you both soon.